The offerings were more difficult to understand. Even if the Soma wine, by the context in which it occurred, its use and effect, and the philological indication of its synonyms suggested its own interpretation, what could possibly be indicated by the ghritam, the clarified butter in the sacrifice? And yet, the word, as used in the Veda, was constantly insisting on its own symbol, in its own symbolical significance. What, for instance, could be made of clarified butter dropping from heaven, or dripping from the horses of Indra, or dripping from the mind? Obviously, this was grotesque nonsense if the sense of grita as clarified butter was anything more than a symbol used with great looseness, so that often the external sense was wholly or partly put aside in the mind of the thinker. It was possible, of course, to vary conveniently the sense of the words, to take grita as sometimes as butter and sometimes as water, and manas sometimes as the mind, sometimes as food or a cake. But I found that grita was constantly used in a connection with the thought of the mind, that heaven in Veda was a symbol of the mind, that Indra represented the illuminated mentality, and his two horses double energies of that mentality, and even that the Veda sometimes speaks plainly of offering the intellect, manisha, as purified grita to the gods. Gritam na putam manisham. The word grita counts also among its philological significances the sense of a rich or warm brightness. It was by this concurrence of indications that I felt justified in fixing a certain psychological significance for the figure of the clarified butter. And I found the same rule and the same method applicable to other features of the sacrifice.
Oh, this is the Rig Veda 110. Okay.
Ghritam is the central, one of the central, offerings of the Veda. It is from root ghri, ghar. You have this ghar in Hindi, hot, yeah, or some, yeah. It's from root ghri to make it hot and luminous. Clarified butter is actually ghee. If you think of how ghee is produced, first of all, the milk has to make the butter. You stir it, and then after that you put the butter on the heat it up, and burn it for a long time until the water is gone. And what is left is the very quintessential quality of the milk, butter, which can stay forever, will never be spoiled. It's kind of interesting because this symbol is very kind of descriptive of what it means, what is offered. The quintessential luminosity of the mind, which is being prepared, is offered as the food for the gods. What gods? These very priests, which promote the growth of consciousness and transformation, they need something to grow on to. Yes? So I have to, on my side, to prepare the offering. I cannot dump on them some wet cloth or wet, sticks and say, you burn it. They will not burn it. Yeah? You have to work on this side also. You have to prepare the offering. You have to make the offering possible for them to grow. You have to make their path easy. You have to prepare the space in which, so for that they have other symbols like Barhis, he most probably will mention this, like spreading the space for the gods where they will sit. Here Indra, here Ashwins. So you stretch with the sacred grass, Barhis, which is from root barich, to extend the space. You have to purify in yourself the space for the gods to come and to take place in your consciousness, If you are blocked with all kind of things, they will never come. There is no space for them. There is no food for them. You offer them nothing. They will not do the work like this. Yajamana has to prepare the space to involve the mind, to prepare the ghee, and then pour it into the fire, and the fire will grow, and the gods will come. And the procedure, on this side, our side, on the darkness, we have to make it possible. It won't work if you are not wanting it, or you're doing it mechanically, or you're not interested in transformation. You won't be transformed.
We have that psychological sense of clarification as well. When we talk about we have a question because we want something clarified. So that same meaning of the clarified butter or the melted butter, we already have that sense.
Yeah.
Sorry. What did you say? What was your question? I couldn't get it.
No, what she says, that clarification of the butter, heating up, burning it, it's our part. Yeah, we have to do it. If we don't do it, if we didn't prepare the offering, fire will not grow. You cannot put into it some, water or milk, and that's it, and it will not grow. So you need to make your offering. The same with soma. Soma has to be pressed out, distilled, purified, made really the most essential delight, and then offered to the gods, and they will grow immensely in you. But if you didn't do that work and you offer the rough, plants, it won't happen. Well, it will happen very slow and will be very ineffective in time. Yeah.
I'm slightly confused here. There are two roles for gods in these two paragraphs. One is the priest, or the person who assists in the offering. The second is the acceptor of the offering. So in this paragraph, gods are the acceptors, purified Krita to the gods. So someone is offering the Krita to the gods are accepting it. And in the previous paragraph, the gods were the priests who facilitated the offering to someone. And that someone has not been defined yet. The benefactor, who is that someone to whom the offerings were offered? And the role of Agni is the chief priest. He collects all of the other gods together. He commands them and organizes them in some event or some ceremony that's going on. So he's the commander.
Yeah, the priests or the gods are his powers. It is by them he grows. With their work he grows. It is them. There is the whole hymn number 1, first hymn in the second mandala. If you read, you will see that all the gods are Agni. Vishnu, you are Agni. Indra, you are Agni. Ashwins, you are Agni. All of them are Agni in action. Yeah? But they have their own domains, depth. They live in the depth of the universal consciousness. Agni has to bring them to the front and make them work. So it is his forces. They belong to him. It is he, the divine, grows here within us, within our nature. Agni is invoking the gods by bringing, actually he brings his forces forward for transformation. You have to see gods as the part of this yajna. Otherwise they are there as Vishwadevas. They do their own universal work, supporting universe, but they are not engaged with us, with the Yajamana, to do the work for us. They do the work for the universe. So the same gods can be called Vishwadevas when they are free from this engagement, but the moment they are engaged and brought down by Agni, they are called Vasus. They are actually luminous dwellers within the substance. They become Naras, those who are heroic powers of the soul, heroic powers, because they will have to face the darkness and to deal with the darkness. It's a constant battlefield, transformation. They will meet all those opposing forces. That's why they don't like it, so to say. It's just all very symbolic talk. But one has to see the procedure, what is happening really, and then there will be no confusion.
I think as human beings, we tend to see it both. We tend to see the word sacrifice as both linear and transactional. And I don't think it's either one. I think that the Veda is talking about something that is more global and going in several directions at the same time, and that I think our mind can't really hold that. So the words tend to push us into thinking that this happens to this, and then this goes in this direction. And Sitaraman, what I was mentioning a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you picked up on it, was that in Sanskrit, when you say, I sacrifice to Vishnu, you actually grammatically say, I sacrifice Vishnu. You're sacrificing the God. So the truth of it is not so this goes in this direction or this equals this. It's a lot more hard to say in words, but it's a lot more multi-directional or holistic or global or something like that, I think.
This
Just to answer Navketanji's question, so in the middle of page 42, there's one statement which I would like to read again.
Yeah.
I found that the gods were continually spoken of as priests of the offering. And in many passages, it was undisguisedly a non-human power or energy which presided over the sacrifice. So in this paragraph, he says gods were clearly the priests of the offering, and he has repeatedly found them. And in the middle of page 43, Veda sometimes speaks plainly of offering the intellect, Manisha, as purified Ghrita to the gods. Ghritam na putam Manisham. So here the gods are the acceptors. So these two sentences are something to think about after today's session, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see the contradiction as you see this, because you know this first statement in the Gita, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagna Brahmanahutam. So Brahma is everything, Arpana, Agni, offering, and the result of this offering. You know? Brahman is from the beginning till the end of the process. The same with Agni here. Agni involves different priests or different faculties which will help him to do this transformation of the offered by Yajamana. Yeah? And what happens then there is one part which will invoke, summon the gods, the deeper powers from the internal or above to enter into this process of sacrifice, brings them down, Vishnu, Indra, whoever is needed, for this action to take place. The other part will lead forward, Purohita, put in front, because this is the leader of our journey. The other part will know how to do it in time. The other part will know how to involve Pitris in the sacrifice if they are needed, or the gods of different kind. So there will be different priests. There is also Nashtri and Brahma, who is perceiving all the mistakes, corrects them on the way. So there are many faculties within this divine will, which are associated with the souls, as Sri Aurobindo says, the souls of the gods. Interesting. Dedicated gods. It's priests, the souls of dedicated gods. Not even gods, but their souls. That means they will be all kind of doing their thing here for us. And it is multiple thing. To transform this surface being in time and space is not such a one-time action. I invoke one god and he will do everything for me. It's actually that multifaceted Agni with all the gods behind is needed for the final transformation. And so in that sense, I don't see the contradiction. So they are assisting the offering, absolutely. They are to accept it, to make it work, to bring it in, to transform it, and to leave the result for the Yajamana, what he wanted. Yajamana has something in mind, because Yajamana represents the soul, the supreme in individual framework. So Yajamana is our soul, who is the divine. And he is here doing this by kindling the flame, his own divine will, and invokes all the powers from within and from above to assist his movement forward, or to colonization of his own being. And in that sense, there is no contradiction. I am just repeating myself already, because this round and round the same, until we are really clear what is happening. And our even external being is multifaceted. There are too many things to be transformed in many different ways. It's not something that everything has only one, application. We are very complex beings. We have different minds, different vitalities, different desires, different misunderstandings, different physical forms, different physical organs. Our own physical body is so complex, and its transformation is incredibly complex. Yeah. So this is some kind of very ancient culture of transformation, which we have no idea about today. We are so flat with our minds, black and white thinking, linear thinking. We never envisioned even that this would be possible or needed, or we are living separate beings for ourselves, for our own, satisfaction of our senses. That's it. And then time has come to die, and we just look at our life and it was spent for nothing.
And it makes sense why Indra is the king of gods, right? The conventional thing. Because the clarity of intellect is the key thing. Yeah? So you clarify, churn your mind and purify it. And then that purified mind is offered to other faculties. And that's clearly needed for progress. We know that even from a practical point of view. Your mind has to be clear when you have to be successful in a task. So that's the process where we are clarifying the mind, and that Ghrita, the purified mind, is offered to other faculties to achieve success in some endeavor. That endeavor has not been specified here yet, but that kind of makes sense why Indra is the king of gods, because he resides in the mind, and a clarified mind is required.
Yeah, Indra comes with the lightning, with Vajra, and that lightning Sri Aurobindo beautifully describes in Savitri in the canto, the self of mind, where we're rising to the top of our, capacity, and we think we know everything. We reached the top of the universe. We see everything. We understand everything. And then suddenly the luminous finger fell, as Sri Aurobindo says. Luminous finger from above comes down. That is Indra. And whatever we knew, we see that it is all false knowledge in that light. It is not only clarity, it is the supreme clarity, the clarity of the divine, which is never enough here in this darkened hemisphere. In this lower hemisphere, we are building up our own understanding, which is very approximate and never reaches the true meaning of what it is about. But with Indra's help, we can break through that ceiling and reach to the, to the Svar world, the world of the rays of the sun. Our mentality becomes luminous and vast, seeing everything in the divine light. It is more than just clarity of the mind. It is some kind of divine clarity. Everything what is here in our possession as Yajamana is to be offered to the divine, to be illumined, to be changed, to be made the divine properties. Yes, it has to be converted into the divine prototypes, which are somewhere there. And Agni knows how to do it with all the forces. We do not know. We can't do anything without this. Without the offering and invoking the grace, We are totally helpless here. We can't do a thing in this direction. We can repeat nature, yes, we can satisfy senses, whatever was given to us already, what we achieved, we can repeat that, yeah? But that repetition of the same actually is degradation. We will slowly degrade into the lower types. So there is only one way to proceed, is to progress.